Best new thing in the world today. All right. Earlier this year, when the president spoke on the 50th anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech at the March on Washington, President Obama admitted afterward to some jitters, to feeling the weight of history.
Well, there were a couple of things I was thinking. Certainly leading up to the speech, I was thinking that you generally should not try to follow one of the two greatest speeches in American history, because it puts a little pressure on you.
So if one of the two greatest speeches is Dr. King's, what's the other one? I had a suspicion that I knew what he thought was the other one, but we checked with the White House tonight, and sure enough, they confirmed he meant the Gettysburg Address. President Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address 150 years ago this month. The actual anniversary is next week. President Lincoln delivered that brief, gorgeous speech right in the middle of the Civil War, dedicating a cemetery on the side of a battlefield that had seen tremendous loss of American life. You might have had to memorize the address in school. A lot of kids still do it. It's not actually that hard to memorize because a lot of the lines are already so memorable and there just aren't that many lines. It's short. Well, this is learntheaddress.org. This is part of a project spearheaded by the genius documentary filmmaker Ken Burns. Learn the Address. It's basically asking anybody who's interested to recite it on video and upload it. It's very, very, very cool. Well, this week, Learn the Address put out a mashup of some of the videos they've collected of people reading the speech, and it's awesome. And I'm in a little tiny bit of it, which is really cool, but I want to show this to you, but this is still not the best new thing in the world today. That comes after. Anyway, here's what they put out.
Fourscore and 7 years ago,
our fathers brought forth on this continent
a new nation, conceived in liberty,
and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Now we are engaged in a great civil war,
testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
We are met on a great battlefield of that war.
We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place
for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live.
It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this.
But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate.
We cannot consecrate.
We cannot hallow this ground.
The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it.
Far above our poor power to add or detract.
The world will little note nor long remember what we say here.
But it can never forget what they did here.
It is for us, the living, rather,
to be dedicated here to the unfinished work
which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced.
It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us.
That from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause
for which they gave the last full measure of devotion.
That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain.
That this nation, under God,
shall have a new birth of freedom.
And that government of the people,
by the people, for the people,
shall not perish from the earth.
See what I mean? It's short, beautiful. Even with cable news dorks doing part of it, it's just amazing. But that is not the best new thing in the world today. No. After getting all the living presidents to participate, sitting members of Congress, the head of the National Park Service, here is the headline about this project posted on the website of ABC News. Look at this. This is so great. Look at their headline. Taylor Swift and all 5 living presidents recite Gettysburg Address. Repeating our top story, Taylor Swift and all 5 living presidents recite the Gettysburg Address. Nothing against Taylor Swift, and I'm going to let you finish. But that headline is the best new thing in the world today. ABC News, you win. You win, you win. Now it's time for the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Have a great night.